the number one perpetrator of the sick condition of this world is a disconnected heart from love. Recent study shows Facebook use makes people feel worse about themselves. University of Michigan study. It's funny, you know, we don't even learn from the simplest and smartest people in the world. Some of them are considered the smartest people in the world, people at the University of Michigan. And yet they're telling us on Facebook that Facebook makes people feel worse about themselves. Instagram has been proven beyond a shadow of a doubt medically that it alters the brain and it makes teenage girls more depressed. And yet, we want them to be popular. There's a balance. It's not okay. Let's go back into let's just find a cave that we just bury ourselves in. We have to heal this. We have to be honest. We have to reveal it so we can heal it.
Amen.
They say that the fear of missing out is what causes so much anxiety and stress in kids' lives. And it just gets buried as adults. It doesn't get cured until we reveal it. You got to feel it. You got to reveal it. And then God can heal it. We have to feel this pain. We have to feel this. We have to cry. We have to. Those that sow in tears will reap with shouts of joy. We have to feel what people are feeling. We have to then reveal it. We have to say it. We have to be honest about it, and then we can heal it. Nobody worry about me. I'm healed. I'm sad for our culture. I'm grieved for the parents because I'm a parent. I'm a pastor. I'm a human. I'm a father. I'm not trying to say Christianity is the problem. It's certainly not. It is the solution. But religion isn't the solution. And most of Christianity is just a fake facade for a lack of connection with God. So we slap rules on people. Instead of saying, you know what, let's stop all the rules, let's stop making it all about the rules, and let's make this about relationship. You know, the first couple decades of our marriage, we had rules. And you know what? We beat the hell out of each other with them. You know what? I heard a pastor that said that. And then they wrote a bad article about him because he said hell. And so people will focus on a word like that rather than what is this point that's trying to get across, because that's how you talk when you're trying to get a point across. But when a preacher does, it's like, sin up in the camp. When we started saying, you know what? Let's strip away the rules. And peace came. Honor came. Respecting one another started. It's just started. We're all a work in progress. The Bible says we are created for connection. We are created for community. The Bible says we are put together, joined together, built together, members together, heirs together, seated together, fitted together, held together, and we will be caught up together. I feel like for some reason I ignore this side of the church, and I'm coming here just to say that and go back to where I feel comfortable. I just bless you with love, everybody with love. Show me a church where there is love, and I will show you a church of power. In the city of Chicago, I'm well over time today. I realize that. We just had the second worst massacre in American history of children in schools. The second worst ever. We need to pause. We need to talk about this. In Chicago, many years ago, a 10-year-old little boy attended a Sunday school. It's a true story. He attended a Sunday school that I know of. It used to be a great community. It used to be a great school, church. When his parents moved to another part of the city, the little fellow still attended the same Sunday school, although it was a long walk several miles a day on Sundays. A little friend asked him why he would come so far, because his friend said, there's plenty of churches, I'm sure, that are closer to where you now live. And he said, they may be good for others, but not for me. And they said, why not? And he said, because they know how to love a fellow over there. Why do you go to that church still and walk? Because they know how to love a fellow over there. Let me illustrate to you the fact that we are created for connection, called to connection, cultivated in connection, and celebrated by connection. I'll say it again. Let me illustrate this fact, and I'll close. I'm going to illustrate the fact that we are created for connection. Everybody say created for connection. Created for connection. Called to connection. Cultivated in connection. And celebrated by our connection. Created for community, called to community, cultivated in community, and celebrated by community. Community comes through connection. There's a commune, there's a unity. There's something in common. Jesus is our denominator. Our common denominator is Jesus. So this is a true story. Bruce Alexander was a professor of psychology in Vancouver, and he carried out one of the most incredible experiments that will help us to understand the power of connection. Professor Alexander explained the idea of addiction that we all have in our heads. That story comes partly from a series of experiments that were done earlier in the 20th century. They're very simple. You can do them tonight at home. You could do this experiment tonight at home if you feel a little sadistic. You take a rat and you put that rat in a cage and you give it 2 water bottles. One is just water, the other is laced with heroin or cocaine. If you do that, the rat will almost always prefer the drugged water and almost always kill itself quickly. That's what the theory used to be. You put a rat with 2 bottles, he'll always gravitate towards the heroin. That's when, in the 70s, Professor Alexander came along, and he challenged that. And he looked at this experiment, and he noticed something. He said, we're putting the rat in an empty cage. It's got nothing to do except use these drugs. The rat has nothing else to do because he's alone in the cage, so he gravitates to the drugs because there's nothing else to do. So what did he do? He built a cage. He said, let's do something different. He built a cage that he called Rat Park, which is basically heaven for rats. Rat Park had loads of cheese. There were loads of other rats. They could have loads of sex. And they both got water bottles, the normal water and the drugged water. But here's the fascinating thing. In Rat Park, they don't like the drug water. They almost never use it. None of them ever use it compulsively, and none of them ever overdosed. You go from almost 100% overdose when they're isolated to 0% overdose when they are connected, and the result is happy lives. This isn't some story I got out of a book. This is a proven scientific model that proves what God's been saying, what we heard Joseph say earlier: when you're planted in God's house, you flourish.